So this is a short video on how to install packages in R. When we talk about packages, these are special bits of our software that people have made that you can install, and it allows you to run all sorts of different statistical tests or produce different forms of graphs and so on in really simple ways. You could always write out code in the console in great detail and actually calculate things mathematically and so on. However, if we use packages, it's like a shortcut for all these things, and we can do some really complicated stats in a really straightforward manner if we use packages. Now there are thousands and thousands of different packages, and you'll sometimes see that there are several packages to do the same thing. A lot of the time it's, if say for example producing correlations, it may just be the package that you prefer using. R itself does have base R, and it'll do some basic functions anyway without any form of packages whatsoever. With all these guide videos, if you need packages, I will show you exactly which packages you need to install and so on. What I'm going to show you now is just two different ways that you can install different packages. So we can do it through this menu here where it says packages, and we can click install, and we get them from the CRAN repository. That's where the packages sit, and then we install it into our library, which in this is the location of my library. It'll do that for you automatically. Let's say, for example, I want to install the readxl package, which reads in Excel spreadsheets. We just type read Excel, and there we go. That's the one we want. Read Excel, and then we click install. And there you see it does something, and there we have unpacked and installed it. And you'll see here that procedure produced this little bit of code here. And in fact, that little bit of code there is the code that you use to install packages if you want to write it as code instead. So we can install things that way. Another way we can install packages though is by just using this code directly. Say for example, I needed to do a logistic regression on a rare event, and I found out that what I needed to do is what's called a penalized likelihood regression. So I need to find an R package for that. So if I just search penalized likelihood rare event regression and I do some reading, I may find out that what I need is first penalized likelihood regression. So what I can type is first penalized likelihood regression R package, and here we go. In the CRAN project here, it gives us some information on the package here, and that's the package's name. So if I want to install that package, all I need to do is install packages, and then in quotation mark I write that package there, and then I click run, and it'll install that package as well. So that's the other way you can install a package. Now, once you've installed the package onto your R, then it's there. You don't need to reinstall it every time. In fact, it can cause issues, and R will want to wipe stuff and overwrite it and restart and so on, so you only need to do it once. However, installing the package doesn't mean it's ready to use. What you do need to do is pull the package out of the library as well. So you have these packages going into your R library, and then let's say I want to use the readxl package. Well, if we search here in my user library, I type read, I could tick that, readxl, and you see it's this bit of command here. So it's now pulled that out of my library, so I can now use the readxl package. Of course, as you can see, I could have just written that as code. So on the same principle, I could type library, and then there we go, it automatically does an autocomplete for my penalized likelihood package there. I click run, and then that's ready to use, so I can now use those packages. So each time you use R, you would need to pull these packages out of your library. So each time you want to read Excel, you'll need to pull that package out of the library, make it ready to use. Likewise for any other package that you could ever do. But for these, once you've installed it once, you do not need to install them every single time you open up R. So what you'll end up doing is you'll end up building your library as you get more experience in R, because all the different packages you use will end up in your library. So that's the basics of pulling in packages. The next small tutorial I'll do is just going to cover reading in data into R, and this is one of the things that people tend to have a bit of trouble with, but R is actually really good for reading in data, and it'll read in any form of data that you've got. So I'm going to give you a few examples on that, using different packages to read in data.